Hey guys, welcome to the channel tonight. We are going to do a video for you today, a wrap up of our shed season. So we'll kind of break down all the different horns we found. We didn't have a great season. It was kind of a tougher season. Lots of boot tracks that we found, but man, we had a great time. I think we ended up with 14 videos in our ASAR series, Antler Search and Rescue. So we're going to break down some of the horns that we found during those videos, and then you can go back and watch all of those videos. I'll put cards to all those different videos in there so you can see them, but you can go back and watch us pick them up. But we had a great time. We started out with our very first shed trip this year. It was with Jace and Maddie, and we just had a couple of hours after work one evening, so we ran out to a spot here close to town hoping we could find something, but we got skunked.
I found Dad's Fluffy.
Oh, you did find my fluffy bunny. That's right. My fluffy microphone cover, my wind cover to my microphone for the video camera. She found it when I had lost it, so that was a good find.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was really our only trip this year that we did get skunked. So that was a pretty good thing. Our second trip, we met up with a bunch of guys. Between Salt Lake, they came out of Salt Lake and Utah County and everywhere. We met up. We had a great trip. It was a lot of fun. We picked up some good sheds. Jader's picked up his very first ever 4-point shed.
Yeah, this one.
Yep, that was
this
his
little guy.
very first 4-point shed he had ever picked up.
First shed.
That was your very first shed too, huh? And then you followed up right after that with that thing, huh? Giant 3-point. That was a pretty awesome find for him. Yeah. So he had a pretty good trip. We ended up doing pretty well on that trip. I ended up picking up this side-by-side set. Small little 4-point, but he's pretty nice. What was great about it is they were laying side by side, and we had been walking along, and I found those. We were pretty excited, and Joshua had wandered off somewhere else, and he came through that same exact area about an hour after we did. He saw our boot tracks, and he looked up the hill from our boot tracks, and he found a set laying right there in the wide open that turned out to be a really nice set. It's a 5x4, and if we'd have known where those were, they would have been within about 50 yards of this buck right here.
Hold it, get backwards.
Yep, they'd have been within about 50 yards of this buck. So two great side-by-side sets within 50 yards of each other, so that was pretty cool. So that was on, which video was that one on?
Number 2.
That wasn't number 2, was it?
Yeah.
3.
That was number 3.
No.
Yeah, that was episode number 3. On episode number 2, we found one horn. It was Joshua's 3-point. It was a brown 3-point. This one right here. It was our first brown shed of the year. That was the year. Yep, that was the first shed of the year. And so that was episode number 2. Episode number 3, we picked up the 2 side-by-side sets. Jaden picked up his first ever horn. It was pretty awesome. So episode number 4, which that's when we went down south with Logan and Patrick came. We had a couple of guys that came and shed hunted with us. Jace picked up our first our first elk shed of the year, which was that giant whale-tail over there. Picked that one up and show him. That was an awesome pickup by Jace. You can just sit right there, Jaders. But that's a really sweet whale-tail on that bull. That was the first elk shed of the year. We picked up a few other deer sheds and things like that. We did find quite a few bulls still packing on that trip, so that was pretty good. And I picked up our first brown elk shed. This one right here, Jace. I picked up our first brown elk shed on that trip, and it was that one right there. That was our first brown of the year for elk. So that was pretty exciting. It was a fun trip. Then our next trip It was a great trip. We went out on a Saturday afternoon. Sit down. We went out on a Saturday afternoon and took the entire family out. And little Jordan, I saw it up on the hill, and I kind of directed Jordan into it. And Jordan picked up his first ever shed, a little Forky, awesome little Forky. Jace picked up a nice little 4-point on that trip. And Joey picked up a really big 4-point, really nice, heavy 4-point buck.
He face crushed me. I mean.
So
yeah, that was funny.
He and Maddie were wandering around together, and what happened?
We stopped to talk, and he was standing about 3 feet, 6 feet in front of me, and he says, "Hey, there's a horn." I turn around, and there's a horn laying on the ground behind me.
right behind her, like 3 feet behind her, and she was standing there talking to Jolie with her back to the horn the whole time. So that was pretty good. It was a great horn. So that was episode number 5. Episode number 6, we took a major big hike, and Mr. Jaden picked up his first ever elk shed. Which one was that, Jaders? Yep, pick that one up right over there. Jaden picked up his first ever elk shed. Take that one down there where they can see it. Yeah, that was his first ever elk shed. That was pretty dang cool. He was pretty stoked about that. Brown elk shed. We actually picked up, what did we pick up? 6 elk sheds that day between all of us. Jace picked up a nice 6-point. Where's that one? Right there. That's a nice 6-point that Jace picked up. And then I picked up a 5-point right there that had a broken main beam after the sword. So some good stuff. Joshua
found those.
Yeah, Joshua picked up a couple of smaller rag horns that were turned out to be pretty nice little pickups. So we had a great trip. We picked up like 6 elk horns.
One moose.
And that is the trip that Joshua actually found part of a moose shed. Our first moose shed ever that we'd ever picked up. So that was pretty cool. So that was episode number 6, right?
Yeah, on episode number 5, my dad found bases of a really old horn.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Hit 'em
yeah.
in. They were laying side by side. They were big around. They were really big around, and they were only about this long. 2 bases laying side by side. Nothing left of the horn after that, but that was pretty cool. So let's see, where are we to? That was episode number. That was number 6. So number 7, we went out. That was actually, we had an Easter. It was our Easter trip. We went out and had an Easter egg hunt for the little kids, and then we went out shed hunting. We only found 1 shed, but it was worth the hike, wasn't it, Jace? What was that all about, Jace?
Big deer horns.
Great big deer horn. That thing is really, really heavy. It's got a lot of mass to it. And then the shank from the bird to the first split, it is really long. So awesome buck. Jace was pretty stoked to pick that one up.
My Easter egg present.
Yeah, that was your Easter egg present, wasn't it? A really cool horn. So that was episode
Number 7.
Episode number 8, we found 1 horn. Joey found it. It was a shed.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, like that one right there. Joey saved us. We were about back to the car. We were almost done with the video, thinking we were gonna get skunked. And Joey saved it and picked up 1 shed that trip. But it was a great video. It was a great time that day.
On episode 6, Josh almost stepped on the little horn.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you almost stepped on that little thing. So that was number 8. Oh, number 9. Episode 9. What did we find that day? You found a really nice 6-point, right? Where is it?
Here.
First ever 6-point bull. Take that down. And you need to go around the side of the house and pick that thing up and bring it over.
Forgot about that thing.
So that was an awesome 6-point that Jaders found that day. His first ever 6-point. As you'll watch in this video, that kid right there crushed it this year. He picked up all kinds of horns.
He found 10 horns.
Yeah, his first year of shed hunting really, and he picked up 10 horns. So we picked up that one, and we picked up one other thing that trip.
Also, as you're watching this video, you're going to notice that none of my horns are here because I didn't find any.
Yeah, she doesn't find any. She just goes for hikes with us. But Jace found this one right here. Sweet deadhead bull, little 6-point bull. We actually turned that one into the DWR, gave them coordinates, and they went up and got it and recovered it and did their investigation and gave it back to Jace, and he ended up getting that bull like 2 days before your birthday, didn't you?
Yep.
That was your birthday present right there. So that was pretty cool. If you want to see a cool pickup on a deadhead, make sure to go back and watch that video. And that video was video number 9, episode number 9 of our shed hunting series. So that was pretty cool. The next one is episode number 10, and that's where Jace picked up a big brown, or big 6-point, right?
Yep.
Big 6-point bull. That was the only shed of the trip, but a great horn. Really, really nice, beautiful brown horn. That thing was tucked up underneath a bush.
It was. It's not brown.
It's pretty much brown. Anyways, that thing was tucked up underneath a bush, and he was going to walk another way, and I ended up saying, no, go this way, come through here, and that's when he found it. So that was pretty awesome find that day. We were pretty glad that we picked that one up. So that was episode number 10. Episode number 11, we went to Nevada. We headed to Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
Our Nevada trip. The first day out in Nevada, I picked up two elk. Nice 6-point bull. That was the first shed that we found out there. And then the second one, the second one was a 5-point somewhere in there. Yeah, that one right there with the broken back end.
This one.
With the broken back end right there.
No, it was this one.
That's yours.
Oh yeah, Jaders found that one before I found that one. That's right, Jaden picked up that shed there in Nevada. And if you look at that, it's got a really cool second on that thing. Just kind of dives off, a kind of funny bend. Then I picked up the other one. And then Jaders picked up one of the best finds that he's ever found. Where is that buck, Jaders? Right there. Sweet buck. And that was his first ever cheater buck. A cheater horn on it. It's got a sweet cheater. So that was pretty awesome to have found that one. And that made a pretty good video that day. The next day, we got up and we went out. And actually, you found a horn, 2 horns that night, didn't you? Before we went to bed. Jace about stood on this awesome 2-point elk, a spike with a little bit of an extra one there. So pretty awesome find. And then you found a funny looking bull, really short little second on it. So we found that one. That was pretty awesome. So it turned out to be a really good day. What did we have? 5 elk, 6 elk sheds, and a nice deer shed. Then the next day, we only had a couple hours before we had to go down to the ranch to do some branding of cows. And I stumbled on probably our best find of the year. And it was a great big side-by-side set. That side-by-side set was laying, yeah, it was awesome. It's a great, nice 6-point bull, brown, and that was an awesome video. We go hooting and hollering down the hill, running down the hill after it, and the wild horses wondered what the heck was going on, so they came down to see it too. They came in and they were trying to check out what we had found.
Really?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. So then we went from there down and did some branding of the cows. After that, we met up with a Instagram friend. His name was Jared. We met up with him and did a shed hunt. and we actually picked up 3 sets that day. We found 2 little brown elk sets. That was one of them right there. But this was great because I had found the left side. I had found that left side, and Jared and I were up there looking at it and kind of videoing it. And Jaden walks up and says, "Well, here's the other side right here." And he crushed us. We both had walked within like 5 feet of that thing and didn't see it. All we were focused on was the other one. And he matched it up right there for us. So it was a side-by-side set.
It's
A
okay,
face
you got
crushed
face
thing.
crushed too.
Yeah, I got face crushed. Then Jace found a nice little horn. And that teeny little one right there. And Jared ended up matching that one up. And Jared's got the other side to that one. That was pretty cool. And then Jace found a very, very cool set. He found this horn first. Nice little 4-point buck. And then after that, we were not far from there, and he found the other side to it. And that one had been, show him that thing. That thing had been eaten up and tore up all over the place. The rodents got to that thing, and it was eaten up and just tore up. So that was a pretty cool little set. So we had 3 sets that day. Jared actually found a nice 6-point bull that day too,
Yeah.
didn't he? So
Oh.
it was a pretty good outing.
And a radio.
Oh yeah, that is the episode that we found a radio, a walkie-talkie up there on the mountain, and we got home and we turned it on and it still worked. I had no idea how long that thing had been sitting there, but it still worked. So that was episode number 13, and then the last episode, we kind of had a rough day. It was getting later into the shed season, and
My dad.
things were growing up. The bushes were growing up. It was getting really hard to see. I found one elk shed, nice little brown elk shed, and then we changed location because we weren't finding much for sign or anything like that. So we changed locations. Maddie was with us. We were hoping to find her some horns, our very first horn ever, and
That didn't happen.
that didn't
Except
happen.
for my little teeny forky.
Yeah, so as we were walking through, Jaden came over to me and said something to me, and then he started walking right on the line where I was walking, and he walked right into this set that he picked up. Side-by-side set, and he walked right into that set and stole it from me because he was walking my line. And that is how our shed season ended, with him stealing my horns.
He's a line stiller if you ever go shed hunting.
But we had an awesome season, guys. It was a lot of fun. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Maddie had fun, even though she didn't pick anything up. But we had a lot of fun. It was a great time out shed hunting, getting some exercise, picking up some horns. I hope you guys enjoyed this video with a wrap up from our shed season. And hopefully you will go back and watch some of those videos where we pick these things up on the ground. And comment on our videos. We love to hear your comments, and thank you for your support, guys. And what do you tell them?
See you next time.
See you next time. See you later.
Wait.